Now, almost 3 months have passed since the world recognized that this is a pandemic crisis and the fallout on the global economy will be severe. What, in your opinion, have we learned in these 3 months? And are you more optimistic now or less optimistic than you were, say, 3 months ago?
Oh, I think it's mixed. We knew in the beginning that there was a lot about this virus that we didn't know, and we knew it would be devastating. I think there was an optimism that we would be able to bring it under control fairly quickly, 3 weeks in quarantine or in shelter in place. That hasn't happened. It's been a very big struggle. I think, to me, one of the big disappointments is how bad the U.S. government, President Trump, has been. Leadership is important in dealing with something of this complexity, and the leadership in the United States has been, to say the least, disappointing.
Well, Professor Stiglitz, what is the explanation for this? Why did this crisis that the U.S. is facing, why did it hit the U.S. like this? America is so advanced in its technology, medical innovation. What was it? Just slow to recognize, living in denial, or just not understanding the enormity of this crisis? What do you think the reason is?
Well, we have a president who doesn't believe in science, but every year he's tried to propose 30% cutbacks in science. He doesn't understand science. Actually, in the parts of the country that are the more advanced, the parts of the country that really are the basis of our growth and wealth, Silicon Valley, they put in place frameworks for working from home very, very early. So it was only President Trump who has been antithetical to education, to science, whose business was based on gambling and on shady real estate deals, that is the source of the problem, unfortunately supported by the Republican Party.
So I guess one of the big questions that all of us have is that emerging markets don't have the resources and the money and funding and infrastructure of developed economies. So what do you think would be 2 or 3 main policy steps that an emerging market like India should take immediately?
Well, one of the things that I've been emphasizing and working with leaders from other countries is to try to figure out how we can give assistance to emerging markets in developing countries. And there are 2 major things. One of them is to provide assistance through the international organizations, and that entails expanding the capacity of the IMF to help by a new issuance of SDRs. And I hope that there will be a global consensus on this. There was a G20 agreement that all available instruments should be used, and this is one of the most important instruments. The second one is a stay on debt. While the rest of the world, the clock has stopped as we deal with the COVID-19, the financial market continues to rack up interest and demand payments. And there needs to be a stay on all payments and interest until the pandemic is put under control.